A detention bed can earn more than $100 a day while it is empty, and the facility around it can still lose millions. But owning a private prison is a channel title, not a normal acquisition strategy. An ordinary investor cannot buy a prison and accept customers. A company might own or lease the building, manage a government site, or operate through a county agreement. This episode models a privately operated U.S. immigration detention center. Immigration detention is civil custody, not the same business as holding people serving criminal sentences, even when operators and buildings overlap. So, what is the government actually buying? The simplest contract pays a per diem, compensated person days multiplied by a negotiated rate. 1,000 beds at $115 per day approach $42 million a year. Some contracts pay only for actual occupancy. Others add services, use tiered rates, or combine a fixed facility charge with an incremental per diem. Historically, some ICE agreements guaranteed payment for a minimum number of beds. The Government Accountability Office found that in May 2020, ICE paid $20.5 million for more than 12,000 unused beds per day on average. That is a pandemic-era snapshot, not a current national rate. ICE later told GEO that new contracts would phase out minimum guarantees in favor of facility operating charges that could be reduced or renegotiated when use falls. Either way, somebody must pay to keep capacity ready. Consider one hypothetical 1,000-bed facility. Every model number is an editorial assumption, not a claim about GEO Group, CoreCivic, or any named center. In the base case, 950 beds are operable, and average occupancy is 82%, or 779 people. The assumed per diem is $115, with a 700-bed payment floor. Actual occupancy is above that floor, so detention revenue is $32.7 million. Transport and other services add $2 million, producing $34.7 million of annual revenue. That is about $44,542 per actually occupied bed, including ancillary revenue. Our base facility has 240 frontline employees at a loaded annual cost of $63,000 each. Labor takes $15.1 million. Medical care takes $2.1 million, and food takes $2.3 million. Utilities and maintenance use $1.9 million. Transport costs $1 million. Insurance and compliance take $700,000. Administration takes $1.2 million, and real estate or rent takes $1.5 million. A real facility also faces overtime, recruitment, training, and turnover. Officers, nurses, cooks, cleaners, maintenance teams, and lawyers all reach the same cash waterfall. Cash operating cost totals $25.8 million. What remains is not yet owner profit. Revenue minus cash operating cost leaves $8.9 million of facility EBITDA. EBITDA ignores depreciation, interest, and capital spending. After $2.2 million of depreciation, book operating profit is $6.7 million. The expense is non-cash today, but assets still wear out. Subtract $1.5 million of interest and $1.2 million of maintenance capital spending, and pre-tax distributable owner cash is about $6.2 million, before income tax, owner salary, or extraordinary litigation. Company net income is different again, because it combines many facilities and corporate costs. CoreCivic's 2025 safety portfolio reported roughly $110 of revenue and $26 of facility operating income per compensated man day. GEO said labor was about 70% of operating expense. Those portfolio figures help calibrate the structure. They do not prove this facility's margin. Without a minimum payment, the base facility's owner cash break-even occupancy is about 65.3%. At 62%, the model loses about $1 million. At 72%, it makes about $2.7 million. At 82%, it makes $6.2 million. At 92%, it makes $9.9 million. Now add the assumed 700-bed floor. At 50% occupancy, the facility makes about $3.8 million of owner cash. Remove the floor, and the same operation loses about $5.7 million, a swing of roughly $9.4 million. Below the floor, payment stays fixed while food and other variable costs fall. An emptier facility can temporarily become more profitable. Not every contract works this way, but the incentive explains the scrutiny. The weak case has 850 operable beds, 55% occupancy, no guarantee, and a $105 rate. Revenue is $18.8 million. EBITDA turns negative, and owner cash is negative $3.21 million. The base case leaves positive $6.20 million. The strong case reaches 95% occupancy across 1,000 beds at an assumed $125 per day plus $3 million of ancillary revenue. Owner cash reaches about $12.43 million. These are scenarios, not an industry range. They explain why operators value large facilities, reliable demand, and fast reactivation until the contract disappears. The editorial termination example values the facility at $45 million while contracted and $18 million while idle, a hypothetical $27 million impairment, not an appraisal. The mechanism is real. Secure doors, dormitories, razor wire, and remote land do not convert easily into apartments or offices. GEO disclosed 8 idle, secure, and reentry facilities with estimated 2026 carrying cost of $23.4 million, including depreciation. Some sites had remained idle for years. Policy can redirect demand. Congress can change funding. ICE can buy capacity, use government sites, cancel a deal, or choose another contractor. Communities can challenge permits. ICE represented 35% of CoreCivic's 2025 revenue and 47.6% of GEO's, showing how much depends on one customer. Lobbying and political donations therefore raise regulatory capture concerns, although political spending alone does not prove a contract was improper. An operator cannot eliminate custody, food, medical care, or safety duties. Cutting staffing may reduce payroll this quarter, while increasing overtime, turnover, incidents, penalties, and lawsuits later. Government inspectors have found medical, staffing, sanitation, and communication deficiencies. GAO also warns that inspection programs select cases differently. Broad ICE inspections often recorded passing ratings, while complaint-driven reviews frequently found non-compliance in the specific area examined. Deaths and medical neglect claims require careful attribution. A death is not automatic proof of negligence. A lawsuit is not a final judgment. Companies say they follow federal standards and dispute many allegations, but repeated findings, delayed care, or inadequate suicide precautions can reveal operational failure in a system responsible for people who cannot leave. That is the ethical conflict inside the formula. Every compensated bed is revenue, while the person in it is owed safe and humane care. So, is owning a private prison a good business? At high compensated occupancy, a well-run contracted facility can generate substantial cash. In this editorial model, the answer ranges from losing $3.2 million to keeping $12.4 million with a $6.2 million base case. But the owner does not control demand, price, or permission to operate. The owner controls execution inside a labor-heavy government contract and holds specialized real estate whose value can collapse when policy changes. The economics are therefore those of a policy-dependent government outsourcing business, potentially profitable when beds are paid, extremely fragile when the contract, standards, or public legitimacy fail.